All right, guys, as I've played and progressed through guitar over the years, I have these light bulb moments like we all do. They're fun, they're exciting, but the first thing I think is, why did my guitar teacher not show me that? That's what we're going to do. You're going to love this. This is like, you're going to love this, okay? So, for example, power chords. I'm doing like a C to an F to a G, back to C. Then somewhere along the line, I heard a song or an artist. You've heard this. I've heard this. We've all heard this. This happens. Same exact thing, same chord progression, same power chords. But then I hear this on the F and G. I go, on the F and G, I go, gets to hear this little move here. Like, what was that? So that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to do my best to break it down on charts right here. Okay, let's just get this out of the way because the power chords are not the focus. We're going to give your power chords a major upgrade. So just so you know, for context, here is our C power chord with the root on the low E string on the 8th fret C. And then we have the G on the 10th fret on the A string. We have the C on the 10th fret on the D string. All right, so we're on the EAD string set, meaning the open strings, okay? You just got to learn this language. I'll be very consistent with it. Now, the magic's not happening here. So essentially, we're going to keep this really slow. We're going to just do downstrokes. So eighth notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you, whether you're a beginning player, developing player, or musical player, muting is your best friend. So we're going to use this fleshy part of our rhythm hand right across the bridge to kind of clamp down on the sound at times. So be very wary of that. Rhythm is king now and forever. All right, now here's where the fun happens. Let's get rid of that. When I went to the F power chord right here, and the power chord is actually right here. I'm going to explain. This is the magic of this move, is this black dot on the 10th fret on the A string, but we have the F power chord. We have F on the A string on the 8th fret. We have C on the D string on the 10th fret. We have another F on the G string. Yeah, so now we're on the A, D, G string set. What this arrow is this is how we're going to slide into what's called an inversion. And they didn't even tell me what inversions are. So if I throw the inversion on there, let me get this out just for a little better clarity here. So you see, watch what I do. I am going to play F, C, F, the F power chord. I'm going to play 1 and 2 and, okay? We're going to actually break this down beat by beat because it's going to make more sense. And this is where you can really skyrocket your rhythm chops. So 1 and 2 and then if you notice right here, I moved my third finger onto the 10th fret on the A string where that black dot with a white arrow is. This is like our pivot move, and I'm going to slide up on the third beat, the downbeat 3 to the A, and then I'm going to hit C and F right here on the D and G string on the 10th fret. I'm going to hit it with the upstroke, the and of 3, and then I'm going to go 4 and on the C and F again, 4 and. So that's like the core part of the move. So watch, 1 and, remember, so right here on the power chord, 1 and 2 and on this part right here. And then we're not even gonna stay on 3 right here. This is a really crucial, super critical time-based maneuver here where you slide into the A. You basically, we do this on 3, but we slide into the A. Really, this happened, this whole area here from the slide up to the A on the 12th fret, the A string playing an A, that is our 3. We hit C and F with an upstroke on the and of 3 and then we hit C and F with 2 more downstrokes for 4 and. So I know this is a lot, but watch, I promise you'll get it. So starting on the power chord, 1 and 2 and. Now watch how I slide, 3 and, 3 and. Now one thing you can do that I practice, I would just start on the slide part, 3 and, 4 and, 3 and 4 and, 3 and 4 and, 3 and 4 and. See that? Watch. 3, 3 and. See, I'm hitting it with the upstroke. Watch my strumming hand. So 3 and 4 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But when you speed it up, it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. That's just on the F power chord to the F triad. Now, I have to tell you this because the teacher tells me the reason this is now a triad, you need the first, third, and fifth from F to be a triad. Now, an F major triad is F, A, C. So what makes this even more interesting is this is a first inversion triad because the third is in the bass, meaning it's the lowest fundament. So we're playing A, C, F. If you don't know what that means, it's okay. I launched my first triad book 2 days ago. Thanks to everyone that bought it. Sold a bunch of them. You guys are amazing. You got to pick it up. I promise it'll be one of the best things you ever buy. So now what we're going to do is we're going to shift our attention to the G. We're going to get rid of these. And then it's the same move. So then we have our G power chord. For the sake of consistency, I have the same black arrow. So 1 and 2 and now let's throw the triad inversion for G up, which is right there, B, D, G. Sorry, that overlaps those two Ds. So it goes like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 4 and sometimes I feel like when I'm doing this quickly, I just have to tell you this right here when I do that pivot. I want to call it a pivot note. It's more of a pivot place. I'm not even really pushing down on the note. Sometimes I just put my third finger over that and I slide right up to the B and hit that. See, you can practice that whole maneuver. So this is not easy, I get it, but I promise you're gonna love it. So let's kind of review the whole thing all the way through and I'll go really slow, okay, without the chart. And then if you want me to make a chart for this, drop the word charts in the comments. So essentially this, from the C power chord, 1 and 2 and 3, and I'm gonna stop between just to kind of break it down and then I'll play it without stopping or talking about it just so you can see how cool it sounds. So watch, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay, practice muting right there on that one, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, then here to the F, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, see how cool that sounds, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, to the G, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, back to the C. So you see how killer that is? Now this might make your head spin a little bit. I'm just gonna throw the inversions on there. That's kind of too much of a hot mess. Hey, we got to experiment on here and see tell me what's working for you, what's not working for you. Now, I'm going to tell you what you should do is just see if you can nail this first one where you play the F, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and you could just loop that like this, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, now, remember how I said I want you to think like a developing player and I talked about the muting part. One more thing before we close this up. What you can do is you can, on the 1 and 2 and, mute that, kind of clamp that down because everything in music is about dynamics, right? So what it's going to do is when you go into the inversion, you slide 3 and 4 and, you don't have to mute that as much. So it kind of pokes out a little more. So like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, when you get comfortable with that, you can then add the G with the G triad inversion, okay? Now again, this stuff takes time, guys. Like, this doesn't happen overnight. It's lots of reps. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, so maybe we could start from, let's just get rid of the chart, okay? Because the ultimate goal is just to know how to do this stuff. We'll go back to the main screen here. So maybe you could just do the F to the F triad inversion, the G to the G triad inversion. So F, G, F, G. But just remember, here's the part where you lock it down. Let's just go back one more time to the chart. Yeah, this is not an easy thing for me to teach, but I think you're gonna get it. I know you're gonna get it, okay? So let's just do the F, just because it's the G's the same exact thing, okay? Remember, this is the move. Just do downstrokes on the power chord, F, C, F, 1 and, watch. I want you to watch my rhythm hand. 1 and 2 and, okay? Now I'm gonna slide up to the A, C, F, 3. See, I do a downstroke, 3. Now I hit C and F here, upstroke, 3 and 4 and, 3 and 4 and, 3 and 4 and. You can chunk things down and make it work for you, okay? Now, listen, Your goal is to make it to the musical player phase, and you have to just learn little things like this. Like, I mean, I would have loved to learn something like, just show me if I totally am terrible at it for 6 months, but I know that it exists and you make me aware of it. Well, that's up to me. I can put in, I would get that in 2 weeks or 2 days. I would just buckle down. I would be like a maniac. Well, that's just my personal drive and how I've gotten to where I want. And I want you guys to know what this feels like. This is what makes guitar playing so much fun, because then you can move it to any key. Like if we do G, you got to know here's our 1, 4, 5 here, because then you can really spice it up. And then I'll close it out here because we're right around the 10-minute mark. Watch. Now I'm doing a different rhythm. Watch. But I'm just taking that same framework of that sliding those inversions out of power chords and doing it. And that time I played a bar chord. So listen, your job is to become who you need to become as a musician, as a creator. You need to sound like you. Yes, we're gonna love all our influences, and they're gonna mold us to a certain degree. But eventually, we're gonna want to combine them all and then put in our own, musical stew and turn into who we want to turn into. So before we close this up, too, have you heard any songs that do that? Because 1, 4, 5 is a very popular chord progression, very, very popular. I remember I wish I could remember the first time I heard it, but when you hear something and you're just like, it bugs you that you can't figure out what they're doing. If my teacher would have just shown me, even if I couldn't play it, I would have been like, oh, and then I could have at least had a framework of understanding. So that's my whole goal for you in here. So let me know how I'm doing. Did that blow? Was that okay? Thumbs up, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Check out the ebook. I will drop it. It's linked in the description. It's amazing. Yes, I'm charging like $9.99 for this, but I put tons of effort in it. I'm still going to make charts for free. This is like your little Bible of like something that is like a core thing you need. It's a must know. All right. Drop jellyfish or your favorite sea creature in the comments. Where are you watching from? What videos you want me to make? You dig this new system? If you're brand new here, you don't know any different. Let's keep this thing rolling. See you in the next video. Only you can stop. You don't stop. Peace.